Well, the goons in Washington have done it again. They've allowed the Democrats to bypass the filibuster for this raising of the debt limit. They've risen it by $2.5 trillion, which was easy to see if you aren't blind to what's going on with the Democrats' borrow, spend, print agenda that they keep pushing down. So, hey, throughout this episode, I just want to show you real quick what just happened. The Republicans allowing the Democrats to do a drastic move, where we're at financially as a nation. I'll give you my 2 cents and we'll wrap it up. And then on the next episode, we'll hit the Build Back Baloney bill. So welcome back, all 191 of you informed patriots. I'm Nino, the host of the Nino G Show, giving you the right perspective, standing up for liberty and challenging that false narrative that is being spewed into every single piece of information that is coming our way. The Democrats are pulling some crazy moves right now in a time where we don't need any more of this spending. Inflation is skyrocketing and it has hit 6.8%. And that's higher than expected, obviously, because the economists are trying to create a narrative that is false. So we're here to challenge it. But that's the fastest rate in nearly 40 years. And the Democrats are still pushing an agenda, and the Republicans are allowing it, for them to tax, spend, borrow, and print even more. And we all know exactly why this is happening right now. It has nothing to do with the supply chain or whatever else they're lying to you about. It has everything to do with they spent the most money in American history in just 10 months of this administration. And you have to count the last month of the Trump administration or whenever that coronavirus hit, because they just shuffled in another $1 trillion bill right before he was getting out of office. That's when all the Democrats started this imaginary list of we can just spend, and it's not going to affect the economy. Well, it is, and everyone's feeling it. So the Congress passes a bill to raise the debt ceiling by $2.5 trillion. And now that's not ironic, because that's as much as this Build Back Baloney bill is going to cost. But they're raising the debt limit by $2.5 trillion, and that is an astronomical amount of money. And from the same people that have been spending our money like a bunch of drunken sailors, the last bill that just came out was that infrastructure bill, but before that was another COVID relief bill, and that was $2 trillion worth of money, which 6% only went to coronavirus. And guess what? We're at a higher death rate than ever possible, even in 10 months of this administration, and the virus is here to stay, and the variants are going to keep coming. So I like to put things into perspective for you. So $1 trillion, the trillion term has been conditioning your minds for the past couple years, because the Democrats are on their continued spending plan. And they're conditioning you to believe that trillion is a name and a number that should be familiar with our thoughts and our psyche. And it shouldn't, because it is the most disgusting amount of money that you couldn't even spend in your lifetime if you had it. So I'm going to put it into perspective here of how much that is. So you take a $100 bill, you stack it on top of each other. It is very, very thin. Well, when you stack them all up on top of each other, you look at $1 million is the height of a chair. $1 billion is taller than the Burj Khalifa over there in the Emirates, the world's tallest building. But then you take $1 trillion, and it is 2.5 times as high as the International Space Station. And the Democrats now are trying to pass another $2.5 trillion bill on top of the $6 trillion they've spent in 10 months. This is not healthy for us, and I think the economic catastrophe that's going to come down with inflation could potentially cause some irreparable damage with not only our own personal lives, but the nation as a whole. It's time we start standing up to all of this. We have to stand up for individual liberty. We have to challenge that narrative, and we have to push back against this federal government. And I don't know what that's going to be. So in order to do this, we have to educate ourselves. We have to call our senators. We have to tell them, do not pass this pathetic bill. On the next episode, we're going to hit the Build Back Baloney bill. I'm going to show you how you can get that. We're going to go right into it there. But hey, thank you so much for being a part of the Nino G Show. Times are going to get pretty scary. It's time to start preparing. Catch you on the next one.